Huber Ridge staff. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Brittany Jones and I'm an occupational therapist at Huber Ridge and Whittier Elementary Schools. We are so excited that we have a space at Huber Ridge to have a sensory room, which we are going to be calling the STAR room. That stands for Sensory, Tactile, Auditory Regulation Room. And this is going to be used by our students throughout the day to help remain regulated to participate in the classroom. In this video, you're going to learn how to set up the room, follow the routine, and use the equipment appropriately. For setup, one designated staff member is going to be in charge of setup and cleanup of the room. This should only take a couple minutes to start the day and to end the day. So on the desk by the computer, you're going to find some checklists and the remote hub that will have all the remotes that you need to either turn on or control the lights. For room setup, you're going to turn on just one switch over by the door. You're going to plug in the tent lights over here at this outlet behind the tent. You're going to turn on the tall white lights, these lights, by using the foot pedal. You're going to turn on the LED lights are located around the room, and it is this square remote in the remote hub, and it's labeled LED lights lining the room. And then lastly, you're going to log into the computer and turn on the ViewSonic and put on Ocean Ambience from YouTube and project it to the ViewSonic. To clean up the room, it's just the opposite of all that. Log off the computer, make sure all the lights, especially the tent lights, are turned off, turn off the LED lights, and then turn off the room lights. Now we're going to talk about the routine and helping our students use this room. So there's two places where I have the routine listed on this window and then also over on the bulletin board. So the first step when the staff member and the student walks in is to check in on the data sheet. The data sheet is located over on this cabinet in the blue binder. The staff member is going to write the date, the initials of the student, their name, the time the student came in, and then they're going to mark the zone that the student is feeling. Over by the door, there's a poster of the zones of regulation, and you can have the student use that to help pick the emotion that they're feeling, and then just check the color zone that they're in. Finally, you're going to check the activities that the student chooses to do. To help the student choose the activity, they're going to use this binder and either pick 2 or 3 activities and put them on to the schedule. When helping students choose an activity, the red corners can be used in the green, the blue, or the red, or the green up here and the red here. The ones that do not have a red tag in the corner can only either be used in the green or the blue section. So for example, the student can choose the scooter board, then they can choose the tent with a red corner for then, and then they must choose something with a red corner to do last. After the student chooses their activities, it's now time to help them initiate their activities and make sure they're doing them for the appropriate amount of time. So for our first then board, we're gonna have 5 minutes per activity. Over on the whiteboard, there are gonna be 2 timers, and I'll have one already set to 5 minutes and 3 minutes, so you can go ahead and just hit start once they start their first activity. Once that timer is up, that student is going to pick up the activity, so they would put the scooter board back where they got it and begin their second activity. The timer for the second activity begins when they're ready to start engaging in that activity. After the timer goes off, they will clean up and put everything back where it goes. Once the student cleans up their last activity, it's time to check out and end their time in the STAR room. You'll come back over to the sign out sheets and help the student pick the zone they're in now. They can again go use the poster board by the door, write the timeout, and then write any other notes, this is not necessary, that you feel fit. So for example, if a student has a difficult time transitioning out of the room, that might be good to note in the extra notes. The final step in using the STAR room is having the student exit and do 5 deep breaths using one of these 2 visuals. They can use their finger to help them as they do their breaths around the star or the pentagon. This piece of equipment is called the squeeze machine and can only be used for students where it's listed on their IEP. So if you have a student that's using the STAR room, please check with me to see if it's listed before completing this activity. To use this, you're gonna have the student come down in front of either side, and they're gonna start by putting their arms through and squeeze their body with their belly down all the way through. Sometimes you do have to help them get started and lift up, and then lift up on this one, and then sometimes you can gently kind of press down as they're going through it to give them that extra pressure as they're squeezing through. Typically, there are green bands that are strapped on here to make it give you more compression. So finally, our crash pad. Our students like to get very crazy on this piece of equipment and do flips. They are allowed to run, but please make sure that they're running and jumping and landing on their back or their side, and they are not flipping their body and doing gymnastics on the mat. Okay, so just some additional things to kind of wrap up our training. I will do my best to switch out some activities and add new activities throughout the year, and change out the rice bin as well to keep it new and exciting for the students. I also will be collecting the sign-in and sign-out sheets about monthly to keep data on the sensory room. And if anything breaks, please don't hesitate to either stop by my office or email me to let me know so we can get it fixed. And if you have any questions on the STAR room or sensory processing in general, please reach out.